Purchase your raffle ticket today and win a new truck in our Drive Away for Education truck raffle.
But before we get to all of the fun that the Texoma region has to offer, let's go ahead and dive right into the Huddle Up. And, of course, we're going to talk some playoffs. Why would we not? Because it's playoff season. And we made some picks. We made some
I didn't put those graphics
guesses.
in. I just realized that.
That's okay. That's fine.
I didn't know if we needed to put the graphics in.
No, that's fine.
We'll
I got
just talk.
I have my
She has her brackets.
Dusty printed out brackets here so that we can go through. But yes, when all of the brackets were officially solidified this weekend, each member of the editorial staff went through and picked each regional champion and each state champion that we think has the best chance of winning. And yeah, so let's go ahead and let's get to it. We did each region, each classification, each division.
I was going to say, there was definitely some that, like,
picks.
I was thinking, there were definitely some, though, and that's probably the ones we should highlight, of, like, that we were, like, they're very different. You know what I'm saying? Like, there were a couple, I think, and that was a cool thing when we talked about it a little bit on TFT, was the fact that every single person had at least kind of, like, one or two really oddball picks.
Right.
But there were quite a few that you and I agreed on that the guys didn't.
Right.
And that was fun.
Yeah, so we'll kind of run through these really quick. Not to leave 1A out, me and we did not pick 1A.
Yeah,
Class 1A.
we know 1A football, especially after doing this show. Like, I
Yes,
feel like
yes.
we've got a good pulse on
For
it.
sure.
But there are legitimate people that, like, that's what they cover is
Yes.
1A. I wonder if I can find that real fast. Oh, yeah, here. It was...
I've got the graphic here pulled up.
Yeah.
It especially for 1A Division 2, all of the experts kind of have differing opinions on especially who is going to take the state championship.
Mm-hmm.
Balmorhea is in the mix, of course, Cherokee. Two of them have Benjamin, which is probably my favorite as well. If I had to pick right here on the spot, it'd probably be Benjamin.
Yeah, they've got the guy, Grayson Rigdon.
They have the guy. They've got the coach that could get him there. So that would be my pick right off the bat. And then 1A Division 1, it's kind of it looks kind of equal across the board. Most of the experts have Abbott. The
Let's
Abbott Panthers
go,
winning.
Coach Terry Crawford.
Good old Terry Crawford over there.
Shout out.
Big shout out to him. But yeah, they're doing pretty well. I think the Abbott Panthers would probably be my pick too. But let's go ahead and get into our actual picks. Starting off with 2A Division 2, I had Mart as my state champion.
Your state champion, which is a very good pick.
I think that's probably the strongest pick out of 2A Division 2. I think you had Mart too, right?
That's what I'm trying to figure out here.
Yeah.
I can't find the graphic. I
Region
did.
1.
We all had every
Mart.
single person. There was only a very few. There was only a couple classifications that we literally all had like the same state champion,
right.
and that was that. We did differ in Region 2 though. I said Albany and you said Wink, which are in my opinion the two best teams. Those were the two I decided between.
Yeah, that's got to be definitely the best two teams coming out of Region 2, but I think we can all agree that Mart's probably likely to get back there and win a state championship this year.
So we agreed on that one. I guess we can keep track of how many. I got a pin. We'll keep track of how many we agreed on.
Okay.
State championship wise. So
all right.
That is 1.
Let's move on to 2A Division 1. I think all across the board, like literally all 5 of us that made picks picked Timpson.
No, Tepper had Refurio.
Okay, well.
Greg.
Thanks, Greg, for messing it up. But 4 out of the 5 of us picked Timpson to win it all. They've got the guy there, too. I think that
Terry Bussey is a beast.
Bussey. I think you could also make a case for Shiner too. I think they're definitely a strong favorite there.
Well, and it's funny because you could make a case for Shiner, Timpson, or Refurio. You and I. So it's funny because in Region 4, that was one of the ones that you and I both took Shiner, but all the guys took Refurio. And if you remember back, they played because they're in the same district this year. They played in week 9, I believe it was. Refurio came out on top.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right.
So at that point, it was funny to see we thought at that point it's hard to beat a good team twice. So Shiner, in my mind, I think Dalton Brooks is going to say that's not happening again, and he's going to do his Dalton Brooks thing.
Yeah.
So that would be my guess. But the guys were like, I think that Refurio just looked dominant, and they did. But I have a hard time believing Boddicker and Dalton Brooks don't unite their superpowers and
it kind of just feels, especially the run that they've made in the regular season, that they are due to repeat there. Let's go ahead and move on to 3A Division 2 now.
We're on a three division heater of picking the same state champs.
I love that. I feel like we're just so in tune. I mean, we should have a podcast together.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be crazy if?
Wouldn't it be crazy? 3A Division 2, this one I'm sure all across the board, we've got Gunner as our state championship. This show's going to be Gunner heavy, so we won't talk too much about them, but I think that's definitely the state championship pick that I felt the best about coming into this.
I would agree.
Yeah. Moving on to 3A Division 1.
Ooh, the same again.
This one, I think we had differing opinions.
Yes, there were 3 of us that picked Franklin.
Yes.
You, me, and Tepper.
Oh, okay. We had the same here, too.
Yeah, Ish and Step picked Malakoff.
Yes, Malakoff definitely a strong favorite. I picked them coming out of Region 2. You picked somebody different coming out of Region 2, but we'll talk more about them later.
Yeah, I picked Pottsboro, which is a team that we'll talk about, which was one of my more like, you know what? I've been pretty chalky. Let's shake it up a little bit. Also, I cannot buy in on Malakoff, and I know a lot of people have been. You want to talk about the one that I'm getting roasted for on social media? Pottsboro. So
what about Malakoff?
I hope all the Texoma people here are listening that I got you.
Yeah, that's a really, really fun region too. We'll talk more about them later, but that's
well,
a
and we picked
region,
Franklin, and Franklin's got their first round matchup against Hallettsville. I am locked in on that game.
Yes.
I am very excited about that because I think Franklin is an absolute murder machine right now, and I feel like Hallettsville will give us a good, even if they lose, they'll give us a lot better of a measuring stick of like how good is Franklin,
right?
You know?
Right. Because we assume they're really good. We assume that they'll probably repeat, but
how much of that?
I don't think
how
they're
much
as
of a
good as
gap?
they were last year.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It might be a little tougher of a road to get to
and
state than last year.
3A Division 1 Region 3 is insane.
Yeah.
Between them, Lorena, Columbus, Hallettsville, Franklin, like it's insane.
It's stacked. I think
Hitchcock.
Yeah, 3A in general is just. Yeah, that's really
it's the best
3A
region.
Division 1 stacked. Anyways, let's move on to 4A Division 2.
Oh, we differ here. The first difference.
This is where I'm getting lit up on Twitter and Instagram and wherever else. Gosh. So literally everybody and their mother picked Carthage to come out on the top. I picked Silsbee, baby. I picked Silsbee. Let's go.
Southeast Texas Mallory.
In a large part due to the fact that, in my opinion, I think that Carthage has a tougher road to get through, meaning that I think that they could possibly lose somewhere in between Region 2 to not make it to that state semifinal round. You've got Pleasant Grove in there. I think you could make a good case for Van as well. Definitely Gilmer is one to watch out for as well. They could knock them off pretty early. So that's part of the reason why I didn't pick Carthage, because I was worried that maybe they wouldn't get to that spot. However, if they get to that spot, if they get out of Region 2, I think that I would pick Carthage. Because they are a murder mystery.
Mallory
right
is getting, like, when she says she's getting lit up, I mean by, like specifically, I mean, we can tell this because if they're listening, great. Thanks for listening to WTF. But we won't say names, but there are players that we put. So our social media guy puts our prediction graphics on Twitter and on Instagram. They do great, like from a numbers wise, and that's why we do them.
And they're doing
fun.
Great numbers. Yes.
Yeah, they're fun. It's enjoyable for us to get to debate and stuff like that. But apparently that graphic got passed around like the Carthage locker room, and Mallory is just getting blown up by a high school football player. She's sleeping.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I had a full-sized image hanging in the Carthage locker room right now.
Coach Surratt's. Coach Surratt's going to go, you remember this chick?
Scott Surratt's
Prove her
got
wrong.
that as
your bulletin board material for Carthage.
I really am bulletin board material for Carthage.
It's so good. Anyway, but I will say,
do I know?
This is high risk, high reward, because if Carthage gets knocked out, you're it.
I am in, because I think Silsbee's the best team in
you're going.
Division, 4A Division 2
I don't think it'll happen, but if it does, again, high risk, high reward, but that high risk payoff would be like, boom!
I know, and I'm telling you, literally, that's the only reason I picked Silsbee, is because I think that Carthage does have a tougher road to get through, but you never know. What do I know? 4A Division 1 now. Let's move on.
We're back on the train. We agreed.
Back on the train. This one's pretty easy. Well, I don't don't know about easy, but this one I think we had a unified front again. China Spring.
Yeah, Ish picked Chapel Hill, which is a good pick.
It is a good pick. I think we both saw them play against Kilgore. I don't think they're as strong as China Spring is. But I also don't think this China Spring team is as good and as strong as they were last year. That's not to say that they don't have a chance to come out as top dogs there, but I do think that we both agree on this, that China Spring probably has the best chance of repeating.
It's funny with China Spring because in my mind it's one of those things that it's like I honestly think as like a unified front they're a better team than they were last year from a team perspective, but it's because they don't have the guy. Like they had Major Bowden last year.
They can rely on Major Bowden.
Yeah, and it's like Cash McCollum is a great quarterback. There's no doubt about that, but Major Bowden had that he had that it factor about him. That's all we talked about. I think this year they're a better team as a whole, but it's just weird because they don't have like the superstar,
guy,
you know.
Hence that's why we gave him Mr.
Texas Football Player of the Year. Yeah, Cash McCollum's a great quarterback though.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. But moving on to 5A Division 2.
Ooh, no.
This one we do differ here.
Yep.
I picked Argyle.
I'm
strong on that front too. This one is I do feel really good about Argyle. I think they've looked really, really good this year. I mean, from top to bottom in their regular season, they have just been blowing teams out of the water. There have been a couple of close games like as per usual, but I think that as a unit together they've looked really, really solid. So I wouldn't be surprised if they make it to AT&T Stadium.
This was one of the classifications that I think was the most fun for us to talk about.
I think so too.
Because you picked Argyle, Ish and I picked Fort Bend Marshall, and Tep and Step picked South Oak Cliff. And I think that any of them do have the shot to do it. The thing that I picked Argyle to win Region 1, it would not surprise me if Argyle makes it. Like, really would not surprise me. South Oak Cliff does worry me. Would I be surprised if they made it? No, but they worry me with the not settling on a quarterback. That has me concerned, and they've got a tough path to get through too. I like Fort Bend Marshall because I think that we always like Fort Bend Marshall, but we realize they're never battle tested, and now they are. And so I think that they're a hell of a team right now.
Yeah, and I think also too, I think Argyle, I think that they have a pretty easy Region 1 to run through. There's not, to me, I don't think there's much competition. I think Grapevine's probably the toughest team in that region.
And I think that, I think they're better than Grapevine.
I think they're better
Grapevine's
than Grapevine
a good team, but
yeah, that Region 2 though, that Region 2 is tough.
Yep.
This is where we differed. I picked Midlothian Heritage to come out.
Yeah, I put Sauk.
You put Sauk. I think
everyone else put Sauk too.
Everyone else put Sauk. I put Midlothian Heritage.
But I wouldn't be surprised with that either.
It's such a toss-up. I feel like that region's such a toss-up. You know, I think too. If South Oak Cliff did have that quarterback situation figured out, I think maybe I would at least be more. I would take them.
Yes.
Yeah, I would be more willing to take them there out of Region 2. But I just think that position is not one that you don't want to have figured out, you know, and in the playoffs especially. So that's why I picked Midlothian.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see their area round game. I don't know who they're going to match up against, but regardless, I think an area round game would be telling.
Yeah, it looks like they could potentially match up with Lovejoy, so that would be that'd be fun. All right, let's move on. 5A Division 1, almost there. This one, I think
we agreed.
Almost everyone we picked.
Yeah, Tepper was different.
Yeah, we picked Longview. He picked Aledo,
which
I
is
think.
that
right there.
Sure.
Longview and Aledo, they're going to meet in the state semifinals probably. That's pretty much a state championship pick
exactly.
for me.
Well, and that's why it's like whoever you think's going to win the state semifinal from the left side of the bracket, I think they're going to win they'll win the whole bracket.
Right. But we picked Longview on that one.
We both picked PSJA North though to hit up
Let's
Region
go!
4. So get it done for us, because we're the only two that picked them.
Yes, but then I think Tepper and Ish picked Edinburgh Vela to come out of there.
And then Step
picked who did he
Miller.
Pick? Yeah, Corpus Christi Miller.
All due respect to our buddy Justin Nevins, but
yes,
Matthew.
Yes, 4 of us picked teams from the Valley to make it out of the region, so that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and move on. 6A Division 2 here. I think 4 out of the 5 of us agreed that Denton Geyer was probably.
Tepper disagreed again.
Yeah, because he wants to be different. He picked Katy, I think, to win. Man, I've seen Denton Geyer play in person this year. They played a really, really good Prosper team. That team's unstoppable. They look so dominant in the trenches, and that's where I think they can win football games too over anyone. I think they've got the guy in Jackson Arnold at quarterback. They are just a really, really good team, and I don't see anyone beating them. I think Katie's always good, but I think Katie is very, very good this year. But I just think it's Denton Geyer's year. They have the experience. They went to state last year and lost to Westlake, but I think that this Denton Geyer team has the it factor this year to get them to state and to win it.
I can't find a hole in their game. It doesn't matter what phase you're asking me. I cannot
No, and
find
we talked
one.
about that. I mean, they're solid up front on both sides of the ball.
They've got the quarterback. They've got the
weapons around him. I mean, they're just
the defense looks
they're so
great.
solid. Yeah. Big shout out to Dripping Springs and our guy Coach Zimmerman over there. I think they're going to come out. I think we both agree that they're probably going to be the favorites coming out of their Region 4.
Yeah, it's going to be between them and Vandergrift, but I think Dripping Springs will pull that one out.
Yeah, I'm a big Austin Novosad guy. I've liked him since day one. I think he's a really, really good quarterback, and shout out to Baylor for holding on to him too.
No kidding.
That's a steal for those Bears down in Waco. All right, let's close it all out with our largest division, and this one I don't think there was a debate on that. We all picked, all 5 of us picked Austin Westlake to come out of there.
Step picked Duncanville.
Oh, that's right. He did pick Duncanville, and it wouldn't surprise me if Duncanville were to go out there and
I just
win
can't,
a state. But
yeah, I just can't. I don't know.
If history repeats itself, man, I
think that if Duncanville doesn't make it to AT&T Stadium, something went terribly wrong.
Yes.
That Region 1 is,
Region 2.
Yeah, Region 2 is.
Well, even that whole side
not
of the bracket. I mean, I think.
I
think they're better than that whole side of the.
Yeah,
bracket,
I mean, I think that
side.
the likelihood of them in the state semifinal would either be North Crowley or Prosper, whichever way you want to look at it, and
Duncanville's
just
better than
bounds
both.
better than both.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the talent.
But I just don't know if Tepper made a really good point that like where Duncanville beats everybody is in the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty darn evenly matched in the trenches when it comes to Westlake. So I think Westlake has more weapons. I think that Duncanville just plays bully ball in the trenches.
They do too.
That's how they win.
I think that game is going to be a really good game if they do happen to meet up there. But I think overall, and if history repeats itself, I'm taking Westlake. I'm not picking against that. So. And we all did too. So there you go. There's a couple of our picks here for the 2022 Texas High School Football Playoffs. We definitely we went more in depth on those picks. Me, you, Ish, and Tepper on Texas football today.
An hour and
Monday.
45 minutes.
We went an hour and 45 minutes. So please make sure to go check that out if you do want a more in-depth analysis on why we picked what we did and more of those regional picks that we didn't get to. But do you want to highlight a couple of games that you can watch on NFHS and Texan Live?
Oh, yeah.
Might as well. So
I was going to say, I'll run through a little Texan Live one real fast. Give me 2 seconds here to pull this up. I have approximately 750 bajillion schedules pulled up.
Big shout out to you, too. I mean, you have just been freaking killing it over there at Texan Live and NFHS stuff. I mean, she's been scheduling games nonstop and dealing with our partners, our great partners and stuff over there, NFHS and wherever else. She's been absolutely killing it. So
well, thank you. It's a team. It's definitely a team effort.
It is, but you're the one for the helm there.
All right, tonight the big ones I would say. Well, shoot, let's say this. Where am I looking here? Things are going great
tonight.
Tompkins, Katie Tompkins, and Ridge Point. I think that's the highlight tonight on TexanLive.com. Go to TexanLive.com. I think that's going to be the big one there. And then when you transfer down, when you start looking at tomorrow, I would say that the big ones, I think that, okay, I am personally excited about Klein Collins and Bridgeland, and there's a reason for that. They played last year in the by-district round. I was at that game. I was there for Bally, and it went down. Klein Collins hadn't made it like past the first round in quite a while. Like I think that was their first time kind of making it back. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure there was a storyline, something like that. But it looked like they were going to beat Bridgeland, and Bridgeland was the heavy favorite. They had Connor Wigman, and Klein Collins came out and played a hell of a game. Connor Wigman threw a touchdown pass with 10 seconds left to win in advance, and it was such a good game, especially because, being honest, your by-district games tend to not be the best games. Sometimes there's a lot of 1 versus 4s. Every now and then you'll get a banger like Columbus and Lorena, and you're like, God, I feel so bad for those teams because they're going to get knocked out in the first round after an unbelievable season, you know. But I'm very excited for that one. Also tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Temple and Waxahachie. That's a big one. That's a fun
really
fun
one.
matchup. This is another one that we're looking at going, man, this is at least a third round game you would think.
There's so much star power in that game too.
Oh yeah, there's
if
you're a recruiting nerd,
everywhere.
Recruits absolutely everywhere.
Good Lord, yeah. So if you're looking for that, make sure to check out that game. That's probably got to be one of the best by district games that we have on that schedule. So
yeah, so it'll be we'll have 30 total by district playoff football games on TexanLive.com. So go check those out. There's a lot of good ones, but those are probably the key highlights there.
Yep. Please don't let your hard work go to waste, and watch as many games as you can on Texan Live tonight and tomorrow and all through the weekend. We've got volleyball as well, so please go ahead and go and check that out.
Yeah, I hope there are women watching right now that are going to have like 6 or 7 Texan Live things pulled up, and their husbands are going to be like, what the hell are you doing?
High
And it's
school
like,
football.
listen, WTF, man, they told me.
Listen, WTF.
Listen,
that's all you gotta
Linda.
say, and everybody will understand. I love that. Well, there you go. There's some games to watch and our playoff predictions for this week's edition of the Huddle Up.